glazed ceramics. These are ivories, all found at Anuradhapura in the Jethavan project. These are intaglios carved on crystal. These are Chinese ceramics, beautifully glazed. These are other more ceramics. These are again crystal ornaments. And these are the silks that were worn by the ladies at Sigiriya. And the graffiti at Sigiriya refers to the silks from China. And these braziers, you can see the end of the arm of the brazier, and again here, the arms of the brazier. These jackets were all made of silk, and hence the translucency of the material. And the word, this is the graffiti, which when translated refers to silk from China. It's given in the 6th century graffiti at Sigiriya. These are coins from China, and we find them by the gunny bag. And I still remember when Mr. Premadasa, who was chairman of the Central Cultural Fund, was going to China. He wanted to find some money for the Central Cultural Fund work. So he asked me whether I could give him a few Chinese coins. I didn't quite know for what, but we had so many, I gave him 5. And he put it in his purse and never said why. He went to China when he was in a talking mood with the Prime Minister of China. He said, "Sir, I brought something to return to you which your ancestors had left behind." And he gave these 5 coins and brought back 500 million rupees. Warmington also mentions that the probable exports from Sri Lanka were pearls, gems, conch shells, tortoise shell, pepper, cinnamon, cloves, and herbs. He moreover suggested that elephants and even birds were exported, while horses were imported from Persia. And this is the pearl fisheries were a major source of revenue both in ancient, medieval and colonial times in Sri Lanka. The fort at the pearl fisheries at Aripu, I don't know how many of you have visited this place, but you can see that's the Dutch fort of Aripu, south of Manila. And these are detailed. You can see the 4 bastioned fort and the moat round it of the Dutch. And that's the British governor's residence at Aripu. When Skinner, the first Surveyor General, arrived in Sri Lanka in the 1820s, his first task was to go to Anuradhapura and trace the road from Anuradhapura to Aripu. And at the end of that road was the governor's residence. The pearl fishing, which we have lost recently, was a major revenue for this country. Fahian sojourned 2 years in this kingdom. He then sought for and obtained the volumes which contained the precepts of Ehang, namely the Buddha. He obtained the long Ehang and the miscellaneous Ehang. At length, he had a collection of the different Sang, all of them books which were wanted in the land of Han. Where the possession of these volumes in the Fan language, he placed them aboard a large trading vessel capable of accommodating more than 200 men. A stern was fastened to a small vessel provide against the dangers of sea voyage and injury to the large ones. With a favorable wind, they proceeded eastwards for 2 days when they were overtaken by a hurricane. Political ties with other countries were also established, and these were maintained through embassies. Apart from India, the strongest historical alliance that Sri Lanka had maintained was with China, to which country regular embassies were sent from time to time. And I have given some of them, you see, from 300 and on, 400 and so on. And then even with Rome, as far back as even 22 BC. And then the contacts that our ambassadors maintained with Rome. Documentary information on Sri Lanka is quite numerous and is found buried in demi-official reports, trade news, travelers' tales, cartographers' notes, pilgrim talk, settlers' records, and legends. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, these notes covering 3 specific aspects: A, the geographical location of Sri Lanka; B, the direct relationship of the Banna Channel in the ancient and medieval navigation; and C, the historical foreign contacts with Sri Lanka, all of which establish the seriousness with which we need to approach the subject of Sri Lanka's commitment to continued foreign reliance, not only in its trade links, but also in its resourcefulness to enterprise. We believe that the levies on trade were direct revenue to the crown and became the personal treasure of the monarch, to which the monastic authorities had no access. It is also for this reason that the king had a Yuva Raja, the deputy king, stationed at Mantota and was in control of the northern province. So far, the views expressed by many historians are that Sri Lanka, which possessed the largest brick monuments of the world, in the stupas, some of them reaching within 83 feet of the massive stone pyramid of Egypt, were built by either slave labor in the form of Rajakarya or by voluntary Shramadana. We wish to express a view that may deviate to some extent from this orthodox standpoint. If we are to look into the records of the construction of the Mahatupa or the Ruambelisaya at Anuradhapura, we see that King Tuttukamanu states very, very clearly that he would not like to burden the people anymore after having much of their resources spent in a major war. And here I show the Great Pyramid at Giza, and in relation the Great Stupa at Jetavana, the next biggest Stupa, Abhigiriya, and the third, Ruambelisaya. The difference of the tallest pyramid here with the tallest the stupa here with the greatest pyramid in Egypt is only 83 feet. The question we need to ask ourselves is, from where did the king obtain his wealth to erect such enormous stupas in the 2nd century BC? Our own view is that king's treasury had sufficient resources which came in as royal taxes from the many ships that transacted business in the ports of this country. The reason for the absence of such commitment in the chronicles is simply that the chronicles were diaries maintained in the monasteries and therefore had no access to the royal transactions, nor were they interested in recording business dealings which were the purview of the crown and crown alone. We do not wish to tax you further in this extended lecture, but hope that we have placed before you sufficient digestive material that will rouse your interest and your imagination in your pursuit in linking the traditional roots of silk and spice from Beijing to Rome. May your own researches be fruitful, enjoyable, and indeed inspiring. Thank you.